Some people come to Seoul for the palaces, the centuries-old temples, or the electric energy of K-pop. They chase the city's famous sights, snap photos in front of grand gates, and join crowds of fans hoping for a glimpse of their favorite idols. But I came for a different reason, one that's a little less glamorous but a lot more delicious. My mission: to survive 24 hours in Seoul on nothing but street food, to eat like a true local, and to see if I could handle the city's wildest flavors. No restaurants, no hotel breakfasts, no fancy cafes, just the wild, delicious chaos that spills from Seoul's countless carts and stalls. The city's streets come alive at all hours, with vendors serving up everything from spicy rice cakes to bubbling stews, and the air thick with the scent of frying batter and sweet syrup. It sounded brilliant, a true test of culinary courage and curiosity. Could I really make it a whole day, fueled only by what I could find sizzling on the sidewalks? My rules were simple. If it's cooked on the street and handed to me in a cup, on a skewer, or wrapped in paper, it's fair game. No sitting down, no menus, just point, pay, and eat. Street food is Seoul's heartbeat, pulsing through every alley and market. I wanted to taste the city's real flavor, far from the tourist traps and glossy brochures, to discover what locals crave when hunger strikes. Sure, my sensible side warned me about stomach troubles, carb overload, and the risk of eating something I couldn't even pronounce. But the sizzle, the steam, and the promise of adventure were just too tempting to resist. Armed with a pocket full of a few Korean phrases scribbled in my notebook, and a reckless appetite, I set out at dawn. The city was just waking up, and so was my hunger. My plan was simple: wander from Myeongdong's bustling markets to the student-packed streets of Hongdae, letting my nose, and maybe a few friendly locals, guide me to the best bites. I wanted to taste everything, from the classics to the unexpected. This wasn't just a food tour, it was a challenge to my own limits, a culinary crusade, and a chance to see if I could keep up with the city's endless appetite for flavor and fun. With a stomach full of nervous excitement and a mind buzzing with possibilities, I stepped into the crisp Seoul morning, ready for whatever the city's street chefs could throw at me. The scent of something sweet and bready, maybe hotteok, maybe something new, called from a nearby corner, promising my first taste of the day. My street food marathon had officially begun, and with every step, I was ready to discover a new flavor, a new story, and maybe even a new favorite snack. My first bite of destiny was giranpang, egg bread, warm and sweet with a whole egg baked inside. The vendor cracked an egg onto cake-like batter, creating a breakfast muffin with a Korean twist. One bite and I was hooked. Fluffy bread, rich yolk, the perfect portable breakfast. It was comfort in a paper wrapper, both breakfast and dessert in one. Efficiency and flavor, all for pocket change. This was food for the people. No fuss, just a simple, delicious transaction. As I finished the last crumb, I knew I'd started strong. Giranpang set a high bar for the day ahead. Sweet, savory, and surprisingly filling, it was the perfect opening act. My appetite was roaring, and the food coma was still a distant threat. Onward to the next challenge. By mid-morning, I found myself swept up in the electric energy of Myeongdong, one of Seoul's most iconic neighborhoods. The streets were alive with a constant hum, vendors calling out, the sizzle of grills, and the laughter of locals and tourists alike. It was impossible not to be drawn in by the vibrant chaos, and my senses were on high alert, searching for my next culinary adventure. That's when I was pulled toward a bubbling cauldron of tteokbokki, the spicy aroma wafting through the air like a siren's call. The sight of the thick red sauce simmering away was impossible to resist. The vendor, with a practiced hand and a knowing smile, ladled out generous portions of chewy rice cakes and plump fish cakes, all swimming in that fiery, glossy sauce. Each scoop seemed to promise a burst of flavor and a test of my spice tolerance. I mustered my best "Hana Huseo, one please," and was rewarded with a steaming cup of tteokbokki. The heat radiated through the paper cup and the aroma was intoxicating, sweet, spicy, and deeply savory all at once. The first bite was a revelation. The rice cakes were satisfyingly chewy, almost bouncy, and the sauce clung to them with a sticky, spicy embrace. The heat didn't hit all at once. It crept up slowly, building with every mouthful, until my lips tingled and my cheeks flushed. The fish cakes, soft and porous, had soaked up the sauce like sponges, adding a savory, umami-rich depth that balanced the sweetness and spice. Each bite was a new layer of flavor, a little more addictive than the last. Soon I was sweating, my nose running and my eyes watering, but I couldn't stop. The pain was part of the pleasure, and I found myself laughing at the intensity of it all, surrounded by others who were clearly fighting the same delicious battle. This was the soul of Korean street food, gochujang and gochugaru, the fermented chili paste and flakes that give tteokbokki its signature layered heat and deep umami. It was a flavor that lingered, bold and unforgettable. Tteokbokki was a full-on sensory assault, in the best way possible. The colors, the smells, the heat, and the communal energy of the street all combined into an experience that was as much about the atmosphere as the food itself. Standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers, juggling my cup and chopsticks, I felt like I'd passed some kind of spicy initiation. There was a sense of camaraderie in the crowd, everyone united by the challenge and the joy of eating tteokbokki. The tteokbokki hadn't defeated me, if anything it had fired me up, leaving me exhilarated and hungry for more. My taste buds were tingling and my spirit felt lighter. My shirt bore the evidence of my battle, new red stains splattered across the front, but I wore them like a badge of honor. Messy, yes, but completely worth it. In that moment, I finally understood why tteokbokki is a national obsession. It's more than just a snack. It's a shared ritual, a spicy rite of passage, and a celebration of flavor that brings people together. The tteokbokki tussle was a spicy, glorious success. A memory I knew would linger long after the heat faded from my lips. With my appetite stoked, and my confidence high, I was ready for whatever culinary adventure came next on these bustling Seoul streets. After all, in Seoul, the street food journey is just getting started, and I was eager to taste it all. After the tteokbokki heat, I needed a reset. Enter gimbap, the Korean seaweed rice roll. An elderly vendor assembled rolls with seasoned rice, pickled radish, spinach, carrot, egg and meat, all wrapped in seaweed and brushed with sesame oil. Sliced into bite-sized discs, it was a colorful mosaic of flavor and texture. Each bite was a perfect balance: salty seaweed, nutty sesame, crunchy radish and savory fillings. Unlike sushi, the rice was mild and savory, not vinegared. Gimbap was the culinary reset button I needed, refreshing, wholesome and satisfying. It calmed the lingering spice and gave me energy for the next round. This was the Korean burrito I never knew I needed. Gimbap proved that street food could be balanced and thoughtful, not just bold and fried. As I munched on a bench, I felt grateful for this simple, brilliant creation. The adventure continued, my food coma held at bay. Just as I thought I was full, I found tteok, a golden fried pancake filled with molten brown sugar, cinnamon and nuts. The vendor pressed dough balls onto a griddle, filling the air with a sweet, syrupy scent. Each pancake was crispy outside, soft inside, with a river of hot, cinnamon-infused syrup. It was pure bliss, sweet, decadent, and dangerously addictive. Tteok was messy, sticky, and worth every bite. After a morning of savory and spicy, this was the perfect truce. Sometimes the best thing is a fried pancake filled with molten sugar. Tteok satisfied my sweet tooth and revived my spirit. The challenge was heating up, and so was my blood sugar. I licked the last syrup from my fingers, ready for the evening's adventures. The street food marathon pressed on. As evening approached, I craved something crispy and satisfying: Korean fried chicken. At a small stall I found dakgangjang boneless double-fried chicken coated in a sweet spicy glaze and sprinkled with peanuts. The crust was shatteringly crisp, the chicken inside juicy and tender. The sauce was the star-sweet, spicy, tangy, and utterly addictive. Each bite was a perfect blend of flavor and texture. Korean fried chicken is more refined and complex than any I'd had before. The double frying method created a lighter, crunchier skin that stayed crisp even in sauce. This was more than a snack. It was a cultural phenomenon. As I devoured my box, I realized why this dish has taken the world by storm. It was the perfect fuel for the final stretch of my food odyssey. The night was still young, and so was my appetite. As night fell, Seoul's street food scene shifted to heartier fare, skewers and steaming broths. I joined a crowd around a stall serving eomuk fish cake skewers simmered in savory broth. The broth was light and comforting, perfect for the cool air. The fish cake was soft, mild and satisfying, especially with a dip in soy sauce. Next door, skewers of sausages, rice cakes and tteok, alternating sausage and rice cake, sizzled on the grill. Tteok was a textural masterpiece: chewy rice cake, snappy sausage, sweet and spicy glaze. Eating on a stick was the ultimate convenience, no mess, just pure flavor. The variety and creativity of Seoul's skewered snacks were endless. Even my language mishaps led to extra skewers. No complaints here. This was street food at its most playful and communal. The night market energy was infectious. For the grand finale, I entered Gwangjang Market, a labyrinth of sizzling griddles, fermenting kimchi, and sweet pastries. My first target, bindaeteok, a mung bean pancake, crispy outside, soft and savory inside, served with a tangy dipping sauce. It was hearty, oily, and tasted like tradition. Navigating the crowded aisles, I found mayak gimbap, tiny, addictive rolls with a spicy mustard wasabi dip. The name narcotic gimbap was no joke. I could have eaten 100. The market was chaotic, magical, and the perfect place to end my savory adventure. I was full, my senses buzzing, and my stomach miraculously intact. Gwangjang Market was a celebration of everything I loved about Korean street food: honesty, vibrancy, and depth of flavor. As I finished my last bite, I felt accomplished. I had faced Seoul's culinary gauntlet and emerged victorious. The savory chapter was complete. The 24-hour mark arrived. I was done. Defeated not by my stomach, but by the sheer deliciousness of it all. Every bite, every flavor, every sizzling pan and fragrant cloud of steam had left its mark. I felt like I'd just completed a marathon, but instead of a medal, I had a belly full of memories and a heart full of joy. My mission was complete, a full day powered only by Seoul's glorious, greasy, and sometimes baffling street food. From sunrise to well past midnight, I wandered from stall to stall, letting curiosity and appetite guide me through a maze of flavors. Was it sensible? No. Was it incredible? Absolutely. There's a certain magic in letting go of all restraint and just saying yes to every new taste, every friendly vendor, every shared laugh with strangers over a spicy snack. Korean street food is a masterclass in flavor and texture: chewy tteokbokki, crispy fried chicken, molten hotteok. Each dish is a celebration of contrasts: sweet and spicy, soft and crunchy, familiar and surprising. It's a cuisine of bold contrasts and resourcefulness, turning simple ingredients into something extraordinary. Watching the vendors work their magic, I realized how much skill and creativity goes into every plate, every skewer, every roll of gimbap. My quest became a lesson in culinary appreciation and respect for the street food masters. These chefs, with their practiced hands and warm smiles, are the true artists of Seoul's streets, serving up tradition and innovation in equal measure. The highlights: hotteok for its sweet perfection, and dakgangjang, which ruined all other fried chicken for me. But honestly, every dish had its own story, its own moment of delight. My advice: come hungry, be brave, and learn to say not too spicy, please. Don't be afraid to try something that looks unfamiliar. You might just discover your new favorite comfort food. This wasn't just an eating contest, it was the best way to experience Seoul. The city's energy, its warmth, and its creativity are all on display in these bustling markets where every meal is a celebration. I didn't just see the city, I tasted it and connected with people through food. Sharing a table, a smile, or even a napkin with a stranger made every bite more meaningful. I leave Seoul fuller, wiser, and already planning my return. Because in this city, every meal is an adventure, and I know there are still so many flavors left to discover.